Hello everyone on the internet, my name is Katarina and welcome to my channel, Curiosity Killed the Cat. Today I will be taking you through the 26 books I plan on reading in 2026. Is that a big number? Yes it is. Yes it is. Am I terrified of it? Absolutely. We let it go way too far. We need to start reining it back in. I do not see myself picking 27 for 2027. Okay, that will not be happening. We're gonna start going back down because this is not sustainable. But this year I was like, okay, fuck it, let's do it. And I thought about how to be strategic about it. And I decided to put it in 3 sections. So the first category is classics. And this features 6 books that are classics and that I would like to get to in the following year. But if I don't get to them, I'm not that stressed. It's just a motivation to pick up at least one because I haven't really been reading my classics since I finished college. Like, I'm not picking stuff up that I'm not interested in and I wouldn't like to get to. I would love to have these under my belt. That is the first category that I want to focus on. The second category is my backlist. So the stuff that I have on my TBR that I haven't gotten to. And here I tried to focus on stuff that has come out in the past few years, specifically stuff that I didn't get to in 2025 that I wanted to read in 2025. And so that is why it's taking priority. And then for the third category, it's new releases. So it's stuff coming out in 2026 that I want to get to, that I want to read. And this way I know that I will be accomplishing at least a decent amount, but also it will motivate me to stay on top of the new releases. Having said all of that, let's actually dig into the books that I have on my list. So starting with the 6 classics that I've picked for this year, the first one is Shogun by James Clavell. And I picked this one because I really loved the show. That was such a good series, and I'm really curious to see what they're going to do for season 2. Absolutely deserved all of the awards. Just saying right now, Anna Sawai needs an Oscar. Please cast her, put her in projects. I need her in everything. Okay, I need her in absolutely everything. And she's also amazing in Pachinko. If you haven't seen that one, go check it out. Shogun follows an English navigator who is shipwrecked in feudal Japan, and he becomes entangled in a brutal struggle for power between rival daimyo. And as he learns the language and customs of a closed world, loyalty, survival, and ambition collide at the dawn of Japan's Tokugawa era. This is going to be, I think, really interesting to maybe try and read. I've heard mixed opinions, and I know this is a thick baby. I know this is a very thick baby, and so the rest of the books that I picked, I think should be a lot shorter. I think. But comparatively, isn't everything short? So, the second book I have on the list when it comes to classics is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. I actually don't think I've read a James Baldwin book yet, so this has to be my priority. And this book is set in Paris, and the story follows an American man who is grappling with his sexuality as he becomes involved in a doomed affair with an Italian bartender. Next, I have 2 novels by John Steinbeck, and this is motivated by the fact that I didn't cover these novels in high school and college. I've heard really great things, and I believe that both are getting an adaptation soon, if my brain is tingling correctly. First one is East of Eden, which is set in the rich farmland of California's San Luis Valley. And this sprawling and often brutal novel follows the intertwined destinies of 2 families, the Trasks and the Hamiltons, whose generations helplessly reenact the fall of Adam and Eve and the poisonous rivalry of Cain and Abel. And the second one is obviously The Grapes of Wrath, which follows Tom Joad, who is paroled after killing a man in a fight, and he returns to the family homestead in Oklahoma only to find his family gone, forced out as the bank seized failing farms. He and Casey, a former pastor, catch up with and join the family fleeing west to California, lured by tales of good work for good wages. Next, there's Madonna in a Fur Coat by Sabahattin Ali. If you watch my February TBR, you know that that's on there as well. So I got to this one. This is a poignant Turkish novel detailing the intense doom romance between Raif, a shy artistic young man from Turkey, and Maria Puder, a painter he meets in 1920s Berlin. Finally, in the classics range, I have Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I put this one here because I own a copy of it. It's somewhere in my closet. My friend got it for me either for a Christmas or a birthday gift, and so I want to get to it just because I own it physically and I want to tackle everything that I do own physically, which isn't a lot, but I do want to get to it and prioritize it this year. And this is a coming of age story that narrates the lives of the 4 March sisters. Now I'm going into the 10 backlist novels that I have on my list, and the first one is one that I have in from the library right now, and if you watched my February TBR, it's on there as well, so I will be getting to it ASAP, and that is Bury Our Bones in Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. This is a gothic, character-driven fantasy exploring themes of loneliness, power, and queer longing through the lives of three women who become vampires. I've only read Addie LaRue from V.E. Schwab, and I wasn't the biggest fan of that one. I think I gave it 3 stars, but I'm really excited to get to this one. Next one that's on the list is one that I own physically, and that's Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. This is a dark academia fantasy following Alice Law, a desperate Cambridge grad student who descends into hell to retrieve her mentor, Professor Jacob Grimes, after a fatal magical incident. The next one is another book that I have on my February TBR, and that is The Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Wong. In this one, we follow Hai, a young Vietnamese-American immigrant struggling with addiction and hopelessness, who forms an unlikely bond with Grazina, an 80-year-old Lithuanian widow with dementia. Then I have The Survivor Wants to Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I'm a really big fan of this series, and I'm pretty sure that I've read almost all of Adam Silvera's novels. I think at one point I made my way through the entire backlist, but this is definitely my favorite series. I love the whole concept. I think Adam Silvera has done a really good job doing pretty much the same or similar concept across multiple books, and this is the third one in that kind of series. And I believe this one is set between the prequel that came out a few years back and the first book that came out. This one, we follow Paz Dario, who is traumatized after killing his abusive father on the first death cast day, who struggles with suicidal ideation, so trigger warning for that. I've also heard that it is a very difficult read as opposed to the other 2 books, so really use caution with this one. He is saved by Alana Rosa, heir to the Deathcast Empire. Together, they navigate trauma and a budding romance in a world where death is predicted. I have another book that's on my kind of imminent TBR as Martyr by Khalek Akbar. It follows Cyrus Shams, a newly sober queer Iranian-American poet living in the Midwest. He is haunted by his mother's death in the 1988 US shooting down of an Iranian airliner, and he becomes obsessed with the concept of martyrdom while navigating addiction and his identity. There's one that I really wanted to get to last year, and I didn't get to it, unfortunately. And I know that the sequel is out, so I really want to kind of binge both of them, and that's The Will of the Many by James Ellington. In this one, we follow Vis Telemus, an orphan with a hidden past who infiltrates the Catanan Academy, an elite school in an ancient Roman-inspired empire powered by draining citizens' will. Sent to investigate a murder and uncover forbidden ancient secrets, Vis must survive brutal academic trials and deadly political intrigues while masking his identity. I love fantasy. I love thick tomes and thick books, and I was super stoked to get through this. I am intimidated, I have to say, but I'm just really, really excited to get to this one. It sounds right up my alley. I have 2 books by Emma Wong, which have been highly, highly, highly praised everywhere on BookTube, on the interwebs, everywhere, and I need to get to them immediately. And the first one is The Sword of Kaigen, which follows Misaki, a retired powerful warrior masquerading as a submissive housewife, and her son Mamoru as they fight for survival during a brutal foreign invasion of their isolated tradition-bound village on the Kaiganese Empire's edge. The second one is Blood Over Bright Haven, which follows Siona, who is the first female high mage in Tehran, an industrial city powered by a complex secretive magic system. Music to my ears. Paired with Thomil, an oppressed Quen janitor, Siona uncovers that the city's prosperity is built on a horrific, bloody foundation, forcing them to confront the systemic corruption. This was on so many people's favorite book of the year's list in the past 2 years, I think. I was just like, I need to get to it. Then I have The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, which, speaking of thick boys, this is a thick baby. This is a very thick baby. I've owned it for a few years now, but I've been so intimidated to actually start it. And that's why on my 2026 goals, I showed my bingo board for the year. It has read a book that's over 800 pages. That's specifically for this book. Set in an intricate quasi-early modern world where Eastern and Western cultures exist in an uneasy truce, the book follows a large cast of characters in many nations as they prepare for the return of the Nameless One, the great evil dragon who was banished 1,000 years ago and who is now poised to make his big comeback and burn the mortal world to ashes. Sounds brilliant. It sounds brilliant, and I really, really need to get to it, especially this year. 2026 is the year. 2026 is the year. We're manifesting it, okay? Manifestations have been working so far. I got my BTS tickets secured, so let's continue with that, okay? Finally, the last one on my backlist that I wanted to get to is Memorial by Brian Washington. In this one, we follow a couple, Benson and Mike, whose long-term relationship is at a crossroads. What happens then is that Mike's estranged father falls ill in Osaka, and so he flies to Japan, leaving his visiting mother, Mitsuko, to live with Benson. And this forces them to both navigate grief, identity, and their futures separately. So I really like this concept. I think it's the kind of book in the literary fiction sphere that I really will enjoy. This one's been on my TBR for a while, and I just really, really need to get to it. We're now entering the last section, the last group of books that I have, and it's the 10 new releases that I'm anticipating. I will be making videos on my anticipated releases in general. I just need to figure out how exactly I want to do it. So I need to think on that, but that will be a video coming soon. The reason why I chose to do it like this is to motivate myself to stay on top of new releases. I have a lot of them. my Goodreads shelf is like at over 50. Which is bad. I don't think it's ever been at that point. And most of them are coming out this year. So, like, yeah, that's like half my goal. Ultimately, I want to read about 100 books, and that's like half my goal. But we'll see. The two ones I have on my list are Half a Sage by Jeanette McCurdy. This one came out in January, and I've already read it. You can hear some of my thoughts in my January wrap-up. This one we follow 17-year-old Waldo, an Alaskan high school senior who becomes obsessively infatuated with her 40-year-old creative writing teacher, Mr. Corgi. Next is a release coming in February, which is also my TBR, and that is Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. This one follows two competing meteorologists who are forced to find common ground in this opposites attract when Harry met Sally inspired romance. I really love the first book in the series, which I read last year, and it was called First Time Caller. It's one of my favorite reads of the year. And that one was inspired by Sleepless in Seattle. So I'm really, really stoked to get to this one as well. And I hope it's just as good. We have another anticipated sequel. And that one is Everyone in This Bank is a Thief by Benjamin Stevenson. This is another mystery in the Ernest Cunningham universe, which is, those books are so good. They're so good and they're so much fun. And in this one, Ernest Cunningham, and in this one, our main character, Ernest Cunningham, is held hostage during a bizarre bank heist in a small Australian town. So, sign me the fuck up. Another anticipated, sequel. This one is more just a romance book set in the same universe, and it's Unbound by Peyton Curran. This one follows Unsteady and Unloved, which I enjoyed both of them, giving both 5 stars. And this book focuses on Paloma and Bennett. I think it's just kind of second chance romance for them because they were together previously, and then something tore them apart, and now they're finding their way back together. So we're stoked for this one. I enjoyed both of those characters, or at least what we got to see of them in the last 2 books. So I'm curious to see what their story will actually bring. Then there's Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker. I loved her book Bat Eater, another name for Koro Zhang. And in this one, we follow Lee, a modern college student in 2026 who is fleeing a suspected murder, and Sen, a 1870s female samurai who connect through a haunted house. There's Mocha by Monica Kim, another book that's on my imminent TBR. I got approved for an arc of it as well, so I will be getting to it very, very soon. And in this one, we're following Dahyuk, who can't believe her luck when she finds herself in a whirlwind romance with handsome, charismatic Hyukjun, who is a chaebol. But then a shocking revelation threatens. The couple has been caught on a spy cam amid Korea's growing mocha epidemic, and the video is all over the internet. I'm really excited to get to this one because The Eyes Are the Best Part was one of my favorite reads in 2024. I just love that book so much. It was so disgusting. I enjoyed it. And so I'm really stoked to see what Monica Kim will do in this one. Then we have The Last Contract of Iseko by Fonda Lee. I've not read anything by Fonda Lee yet, but I do have some books on my TBR. However, I want to get to this one as this will be a new release and a standalone, I believe. And in this one, we're following Iseko, a legendary well-worn corporate swordswoman, who is planning to retire. So she takes a final she takes a final high-stakes mission that forces her to confront her past, specifically her former apprentice, Dragonfly Martin. Another book by an author that I really enjoyed, and that's Maggie O'Farrell. She's coming out with a new novel called Land, and it's, again, a historical novel that is set in 1865 Ireland, following cartographer Thomas and his young son Liam as they work on an ordnance survey project amid the aftermath of the Great Hunger. Then I have a really anticipated debut in the year, and that is The Secret World of Briar Rose by Cindy Pham. I'm a big fan of hers, and I'm super excited to read her new novel. This is a YA queer retelling of Sleeping Beauty, focusing on a hardened thief named Corin searching for her sister Ellie in the ruined kingdom of Gildan. Finally, the last book that I have on my 26 books I want to read in 2026 is Winners and Liars by Alima Omotoni. I was a really big fan of her debut novel a few years ago, and my friend got it for me signed. Because this is basically family to me, okay? It's a friend of a friend. That's like being related, okay? So I'm super stoked, and in this house, we support Alima Omotoni. So if you haven't heard of her, and if you haven't heard of her books, get to it. This one is specifically described as Knives Out for YA readers. This is a twisty, high-stakes game for a life-changing inheritance brimming with chilling family secrets. Doesn't that sound amazing? Doesn't that sound amazing? Please get to it. And if you haven't, I really highly suggest her debut novel, Everyone's Thinking It. I love that one. Give it 5 stars. It was so good. If you like YA, I'm sure you will enjoy these as well. There you have it, folks. Those are the 26 books I want to read in this year. What are some of the books you want to get to in this year? What is your list, maybe? I hope it's not 26 books, because this is crazy. This is insane. But I wish you all the best in your journey for this year. If it's 1 book or if it's 100, know that that is more than enough as long as you're reading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like if you liked it, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!